Hi everyone. A couple of days ago we did a thorough analysis of Nordic American Tanker stock in relation to oil glut in 2014 and in relation to the current oil issues that we are facing. Today we will do a further thorough analysis of Nordic American stock. We will try to see if it's still worth buying the stock at these current levels. Is the stock good for a short-term investment or a long-term investment? Will new retail investors jump into the stock soon? Will passive income investors jump into the stock? For you not to miss any future videos in this channel, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button for this video, and I would love to hear your feedback, opinion, and thoughts on this topic by leaving a comment down there. After the Great Recession of 2008-2009, due to high increase in productivity and output in the world, there was a high demand for oil consumption. Therefore, since 2008, oil prices spiked and were trading at around $100 per barrel. As we can see in this graph, by late 2014, world oil supply was on a track to rise much higher than the actual demand. So a lot of unused oil was just simply being put away for later use. So in September of 2014, prices started to fall sharply. As we can see from this graph, the West Texas Intermediate crude oil price started falling from around $100 per barrel by mid-2014 to almost $27–28 per barrel by the end of 2016. So it fell about 75% in a year and a half. Due to a very high supply of oil and very low demand of oil during 2014-2015, the oil companies were looking for places to store the excess oil. Therefore, the oil tanker industry was the one who was benefiting from it because their spot rates were crazy high during this time. Nordic American Tanker stock increased by about 60% during this whole time. The company reached a $1.5 billion market cap in 2015, and it had shares outstanding of 89 million, which gave us a price roughly at around $16 per share. In the second quarter of 2015, Nordic American Tanker posted great results. The second quarter of 2015 produced better results than the first quarter of 2015. So far in the third quarter, we have secured higher average rates than in the two preceding quarters of the year. In the second quarter of 2015, NAT continued to benefit from both a solid Suezmax tanker market and a top quality fleet. So during the second quarter, they had 22 vessels in operation. Cash flow from operations was at $54.5 million compared to $51 million in the first quarter of 2015. For all of the 2014, cash flow from operations was $77.7 million compared with negative $11.1 million in 2013. In the third quarter, tanker rates got to the levels of $35,000 per day per vessel. In second quarter of 2015 and third quarter of 2014, the spot rates were $38,000 and $21,000 per day per ship respectively. The company said that the balance sheet was strengthened in the third quarter of 2015 as they retained about $15.2 million of operating cash flow during the quarter to finance future commitments. Fourth quarter of 2015 seemed to be one of the strongest quarters for the company since the spot rates were really high during this time. During their announcement of first quarter of 2016, the company said that the tanker market has been more or less at the same level the last few quarters. The average for first quarter 2016, fourth quarter 2015, and first quarter 2015 has been $36,000, $39,800 and $37,000 per day per ship respectively. The 2015 annual net income and annual revenue were the strongest in decades for the company. The company posted around $150 million in annual net income and $446 million in annual revenues. When the company posts great profits, it always tries to double or triple its dividend. The company is dedicated to delivering the dividend. Even during troubling times, the company never stopped giving out dividends. But when the company posts great profits, it tends to double or triple its dividend to its shareholders. So as we can see from this table, In the second quarter of 2014, they delivered a 12-cent per share dividend. However, by the first quarter of 2016, the dividend was increased by more than 300% to 43 cents per share. So the company delivers great dividends when the company's bottom line is great. This in turn attracts a lot of passive income investors when the price of the stock is at a fair or at the undervalued levels. Now in 2020, we had to shut down the global economy for about 2 months because of the current issues we are facing. We did shut down the whole economy. We isolated everyone in order to prevent the worst. When the world economy is shut down, that means majority of transportation has come to a complete stop. And this in turn means there will be low demand for oil and a very high supply of oil. This whole situation of very low demand and high supply of oil made oil prices fall to historic levels. West Texas Intermediate crude oil price fell to historic levels as well. It went from around $60 per barrel in the beginning of 2020 to as low as about $10 per barrel by the beginning of April. Now it kind of recovered back and it's ranging, right now it's trading at around $25 per barrel. Due to very low demand and high supply of oil, oil companies were looking for places to store the oil so they can use it in the future at higher prices. Oil tanker industry was the one who was benefiting from this, since they were being used as storage places while the oil tanker company was charging crazy high rates. During this whole mess, Nordic American Tanker stock price increased by almost 100%. It was trading at around $2.5 per share in the beginning of March, and now it's trading at over $5 per share. On March 2nd, NAT CEO said that the reduced world oil trade in itself is negative for NAT. However, he said that we now see increased demand for storage space, meaning that they could charge higher spot rates now, so that's where they're making the money. But in general, he said the NAT tanker business has a solid future. The NAT CEO keeps re-emphasizing that the main objective for NAT company is to remain a dividend company. As of March 17th of this year, the company claimed to have 23 vessels available. Each vessel can load up to 1 million barrels of oil. The operating cost for the ship remains at around $8,000 per day. Dividend has increased recently from 7 cents in quarter 4 of 2019 to 14 cents in quarter 1 of 2020, and this will definitely keep increasing for the next at least 3-4 quarters due to the profit that they are making from the spot rates. The Suezmax tanker spot rates contracts are ranging now between $65,000 per day to more than $100,000 per day. The company also said that as matters stand now, we are in a very strong phase of the tanker market. We believe that this could last for quite a long time, including next year, which is 2021. Our description of the future is of course not a promise, but it is an indication how matters stand at this time as we see them. According to Hellenic Shipping News, an article that was published on May 11th of this year, floating storage is far from dead in the water. Even though as Europeans and Americans are getting back to war, there are more cars on the road, Saudi Arabia and other oil producers are hitting the brakes on output, the price of crude oil has doubled. All of which might give you the impression that the floating storage tanker business is pretty much dead. But this is not true. According to Euronav executives, the number of vessels taken in on floating storage continues to creep up every day. It will continue to increase and support our markets. Moreover, Euronav executives estimate that another 14 million barrels per day will go into storage this month, so the month of May, and a further 2 million barrels per day in the month of June. So if these estimates prove true, they said you could see as twice as many very large ships and twice as many Suezmaxes being taken before the end of June, which would have a positive impact for the ships that are still trading, because there is still a lot of demand for transporting oil, and the spot market should reflect the diminishing supply of the world fleet. According to Euronav executives, floating storage could peak sometime in June, but they said remember, Those charter contracts are for 6 months. If this finishes in the middle of June, let's say this whole thing finishes in the middle of June, it's not like all the stored barrels will be redistributed in the third week of June. Shipping doesn't work that way. Because of the extraordinarily strong tanker market, with tanker rates ranging between $65,000 to $100,000 per individual contracts, and because of the financial position of the net, which is very solid, and because of the increased cash flow in the company, the net board has decided to establish a share buyback program. Net said that they may discontinue the share buyback program at any time. While other companies have been cutting their dividends due to the unprecedented times we are currently facing, Net has doubled its dividend from the last quarter, and it believes that it will increase the dividend even more at least for the next 3-4 quarters. This in turn will attract, I believe it will attract a lot of passive income investors, since also the price of Nordic American Tanker stock is at fair value levels. The 14 cents per share dividend was declared on March 24th. The ex-dividend date is on May 22nd, record date is on May 26th, and the pay date is on June 5th of this year. NAT's board objective is to prioritize the dividend, especially when the market is very strong for their ships like it is now in 2020. On April 2nd of this year, NAT board reconfirmed the strong position for their ships. They said that the start of second quarter is much stronger than the first quarter. They are currently getting into contracts of 14 days up to 68 days, with spot rates ranging between 26,000 per day up to 110,000 per day. They also said that their operating costs for their ships, it's at around $8,000 per day. So this operating cost is still the same as when the market is not good. On April 14th of this year, the board of directors, with a note to shareholders, said that the tanker market is continuing from strength to strength. They said that historically speaking, tanker rates above $30,000 per day are good for Net. Keep in mind, in the second quarter, Net has got into contracts that have spot rates up to $110,000. OPEC and other oil exporting countries agreed cuts in oil production in the magnitude of about 10 million barrels per day, or about 10% of the world production. The board of directors does not expect that this will negatively impact the situation for Nordic American Tanker. The board also stated that going forward we foresee low oil prices. This is good for our business. China, Korea and other Asian countries are slowly recovering. So combined with stimulus packages and low oil prices, we expect that the world economy will recover. In the meantime, the Net company is enjoying the strong position. Moreover, insiders in the company have been buying the stock heavily, from $3 per share up to $5 per share. This is a positive indication for the company, since they know that the company has locking in a lot of profits. This is a very positive short-term future for this company. Nordic American Tanker stock is trading at year-to-date ranges, which is at around $5 per share. It is trading though about 100% higher since March 20th levels, because that's when the demand for oil plunged to historic levels and there was a increased need for oil tankers. So Nordic American Tanker Company was and is still currently benefiting from this. The current market cap of this company is at around 734 million, but because of the crazy high rates they're receiving nowadays, according to the second graph below, they were receiving in April at around $110,000 spot rates per day, and now it's kind of leveling off at around $90, but that is still way higher than what it was back in 2015. So if we are assuming that this company will reach close to $1.5 billion market cap, which was the market cap back in 2015, and the current shares outstanding are around 147 million shares out there, the stock price should be at around $10 per share. In his interview on CNBC, Net CEO said that he has never seen such a strong market since he has been involved with the industry, which is almost over 3 decades. ago. Therefore, as a conclusion, will the stock price of Nordic American Tanker stock get to $10 per share? That remains to be seen. But with all the crazy spot rates the oil tanker industry is currently getting, and it will be getting for the next at least second and third quarter, we believe that net stock price has still a lot of room to grow to higher levels. Alright everyone, if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for future videos, and leave any comments or feedbacks you have down there. Thank you again for watching the channel Invest with Besim.